Yeah, that happened. I think it's no surprise that the death of James Bond in an actual James Bond movie did come as quite a surprise to us Bond fans. And I think from now to the rest of time, every one of us in the Bond community, heck, everyone in the general public is going to have thoughts and feelings, and basically summarization of here, mixed feelings about the death of James Bond. Even now, since the release of No Time to Die, I've seen people who are supportive of this creative decision, those who are very much against what they did, feeling it's a complete betrayal of Ian Fleming's Your Creation, and some who are really such, still to this day, have really mixed feelings. They see like, yeah, I understand why, but was it really the best? But it actually worked there. But just, there is so many mixed reactions and mixed feelings to this whole sequence and this whole creative decision for No Time to Die, and still to this day I just don't think it's ever truly gonna stop. Now for me, unfortunately, the whole ending of No Time to Die got spoiled before I got to see this film, unintentionally by a fan. Messaged me on the day of the release of No Time to Die. They saw it at a midnight screening, they thought probably I might have gone seen it, and I got a message saying, oh my god, Henry, the death of Bond, I can't believe they did that. Now respectfully, this guy, I messaged him back saying, unfortunately I haven't seen it yet, and he was very apologetic about it. But going into No Time to Die, I saw it from the lens of, right, I know James Bond is going to die in this film, so what is the story that gets us to this point? What is the story that made it to the point where Bond has to die at the end of this film? I really want to take a moment to discuss this whole sequence, this one particular part of No Time to Die, and really go in depth and analyse it and review it and really talk about my own sort of feelings about it and really go bit by bit about what I felt about it and certain aspects I thought were good, some aspects I thought were bad. So this is what we're going to do in today's video. We're going to analyse and review and look in depth to the death of James Bond 007 in No Time to Die. But before we get into that, everybody, can I ask you, if you haven't already, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and it would be absolutely amazing if you could. And don't forget as well to comment down below and tell me your own thoughts and feelings when it comes to this whole sequence of No Time to Die. But within that, everybody, let's get into discussing the death of 007 in No Time to Die. So before we get into the actual sequence itself, I really just want to have a quick little mention here and a quick discussion about the virus in the film, this Project Heracles, that is the main focus and the reason Bond dies at the end of No Time to Die. A bit of a disclaimer up here, everyone. Listen, everyone has that thing I suppose you say you're scared of. Maybe it's nuclear weapons blowing up, or it's like digital terrorism. For me, biological warfare is absolutely terrifying. So Project Heracles in No Time to Die really hit me in a real in-depth personal level. I find this whole virus and this whole sort of weapon they've created incredibly terrifying. Certainly with the pandemic that's just happened, and I suppose, you know, we're starting at the time of this recording to see the end of it. This biological weapon is basically a weaponized COVID-19, and to me that was always really, really scary. Now, it's explained in the film that it's meant to be designed as a perfect no casualties kill, and what this virus does, it latches on to your genetic template, and only then, if it's designed and it's sort of, if you will, programmed to attack you, you're the only one it can hurt. It can be on you permanently for the rest of your life. You could be a carrier and spread it to different people, but it will not affect you at all, not 100%. You'll never even know it's there, except if you're the person it's designed and targeted for, and then you shall die. I just think that's absolutely terrifying and, quite frankly, incredibly scary to think about. In the modern day, there might actually be weapons like that happening. So this is the thing that Bond's got to stop. Let's just keep this in mind. This is a weapon which potentially you cannot maybe potentially ever see coming. It's a true invisible killer. Let's start at the beginning of the scene, which is where Bond and Safin end up fighting in the Garden of Death in that little pod. Now, in this sequence, we know that Bond and Safin have a fight. Safin from earlier has a little vial around his neck, which is a bit of Project Heracles, which is programmed to kill Madeline Swan and her and Bond daughter. I'm sorry if I can't say the name, everyone. I still struggle with it, but I think it's Matilfoy. or Matilde. Oh, sorry, I really struggle with that name, everyone. But essentially, in the fight ensues, the capsule is broken, and Bond is infected again with Project Heracles, which now means he is a weapon that could kill his own family. You can just see in this sequence, just that realization that he is now part of the living weapon, and he's specifically got something that could kill his own family. And you can just see it in Bond's eyes here. It's like just processing it. It's just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And you must remember, just a bit earlier, Bond was saying we must destroy this virus completely so no one ever has to suffer with it. If you remember that great line, if we don't do this now, there'll be nothing left to save. So now Bond has just realised, as well as being a danger to his own family, he is now a walking Project Heracles. Let's just discuss here something which, the way I've read this scene, which I don't think other people have read it this way. Now, if you have, I apologise. This is just from my own perspective, how I've seen it. But at this point, after Bond has been infected with Project Heracles, he now knows two things. A, if he ever reaches and comes even near Matilda and his own daughter, he's going to kill them. He also knows now if he continues to live, he can just pass it on to any random person he bumps past, and they can maybe potentially pass it on to someone who passes it on to someone who then eventually passes it on to Madeline and his daughter. So he now has that very much lodged in his mind, which I think we all agree on, which is going through his head. But I think what also is going through his head, and this is why I think honestly this scene does fit in with the James Bond character, is Bond has always put Queen and country above himself. And I bet that's still rushing through his head, because he very much earlier on in the film has said, we've got to destroy Project Heracles completely, none of it can survive. And now he is basically a part of Project Heracles. He is the virus living incarnate. So what does he have to do? In order to save the world, as well as his family, he has to die. And that's why he makes the decision right there, right now for me. Let's just move on to the death here. Now, for me, what I love about the scene is I don't feel it's overly too emotional. It's the right amount, and it's not overly dragged out. It goes really well. It starts with obviously Bond just walking up to the top, wanting to meet to Madeline and finally say his goodbyes. You know the missiles are coming. You know that what is going to happen here. And what I just really love about the scene is how quiet it is and just how poignant it is. What I really like about this part of the sequence is actually how, in a weird way, you know what the end result is. You know that Bond is going to die at the end of, if you will, this scene. But it does build up the tension and suspense in a completely different way. Normally you talk about building up suspense and tension, it's sort of like, are they going to get caught? Are they going to get found out? This is very much different. This is actually more about building up the tension of like having to really say those hard emotional goodbyes and having to do the right thing and just trying to sort of be brave, be strong, and just, just be that sort of person, which Bond is being here in so many ways. Speaking from a personal point now, and my understanding of the James Bond character, and my reading of the books, and my sort of relationship with James Bond, I feel also going into the ending and this whole death scene of No Time to Die, if Ian Fleming had written a book which had killed James Bond off for good, I feel this would actually have been very much, if you will, very similar to how he probably would have done it. Obviously, we don't know if Ian Fleming ever was going to write a book where he kills off James Bond. I very much doubt it per se, but if Ian Fleming was to write such a scene, I do imagine something like this he might have potentially done. This scene also makes sense in the film's context. Ever since the Daniel Craig era began, it's really been diving into the idea of why Bond can't have a private life, why he can't have a family, why he can't have kids, because they know of the repercussions and the difficulties that come with that in his line of work. And this film really brings that to the foreground here. This film really shows the price you will have to pay if you want those things, and eventually it kills him. As Blofeld said, when the secret gets out, it'll be the death of you. That is the point of this scene. You can't have it both ways, and Bond has to make the ultimate sacrifice to protect everyone. Because the Daniel Craig era has been a separate continuity, you can get away with something like this. If they tried to do it in the original 20 films, it just wouldn't have worked. But with Daniel Craig's era, you've had Bond at the beginning, and you've had him now throughout his whole life, well basically his adult life, all the way to his end and his eventual death. But this is what I'll say right now about this. This whole death thing, in my opinion, must never ever be done again. If you're trying to repeat this and do another film where Bond dies at the end, you're just cheapening it. You're just saying, oh yes, every new actor comes in at the end of their last film, Bond will die, ha ha ha. that will ruin the whole thing of No Time to Die completely and make it much, much worse. It works just as a one-off for Daniel Craig. That's it. In my opinion, they should personally never do it again. But I do, if you will, sort of congratulate them. Like, you know what? You had an idea that you wanted to do for this film and kill off James Bond. You didn't just half-arse it. You went for it, you really thought about it, you gave the best version you felt you could possibly give. And that's one of the, again, another reasons why I applaud this film for doing this, because at least they did it with heart, with passion, and they didn't just half-arse it, and they really dived into why he's doing it in so many ways. Well, everyone, that is my in-depth thoughts about the death of James Bond in No Time to Die. But again, I want to ask, what are your opinions on this? Do you like what they did? Do you not like? I want to know. Comment down below and tell me your thoughts and feelings. As always, everyone, my name is Hamish Stevens, and I am the Bond Geek. Goodbye.